All right, here we are. Another episode of Let There Be Talk. Today is Monday, February 24th. Welcome. How are you guys? I'm out in New York City, just winding down the Marin tour, which is sad for me. Sad for me. I got to spend some quality, amazing time with my good friend Mark Maron. It had been a long time since we had done any small touring, and this was not small. It was about spread out over 5 weeks, and it was just magic for me and hopefully for him. But I kind of needed that at this point in my career. I was like, I need to be out there with an old friend. And just watch a ninja, watch a master do stand-up comedy and remind me of like, oh yeah, I'm fucking nowhere near where I should be as far as getting good. And that kind of shit really works for me. It makes me get back home and dive in. That's the coffee maker in the background growling. It's like anyway, I thought, I'll make a little quick cup of coffee before I get on the flight home. All right, so thank you, Mark, for having me. Just I cannot thank you enough, and it was just a magical ride in all the great cities. This time we were out in Portland, Maine, New Haven. Where else were we? God, I got the shitty... I was just at these places, and I'm like, where else were we? Hold on. Let me check my website. It doesn't fucking matter. We were out there. We were doing it, driving around the East Coast, and there was a couple spots that it was freezing cold, like Portland, Maine, but other than that, the weather was just beautiful. Some of the benefits of global warming, just being on the East Coast in February, and it's 50 degrees. And welcome aboard, anyone new here that has joined up in the last couple months. Everybody out there that seemed to love the Brad Whitford episode that I did last week. It was his birthday, I think today. No, yesterday. It was his birthday yesterday. Also, a very sad anniversary was Saturday, and it was just, just a reminder of if you're not doing well, man, mentally, reach out to some friends. It was a year ago Saturday that we lost the great Brody Stevens. And I woke up that morning and I still can't believe he's gone, actually. I don't feel like it's real. I do feel like, I think part of me is just still trying to push it down. I don't do good with stuff like that, especially when it was somebody like Brody that I was very close to and saw 3-4 times a week, always laughing around him, and such a big part of my 10-year comedy career so far, of just daily doses of Brody. Push and believe. Dean Del Rey's got the positive attitude. And it's never going to go away. I've figured that out on Saturday. This will not go away. And I'm never going to forget him. So I miss you, Brody, and I want to tell you that right now. I know you're out there somewhere, and I really do miss you. And I do hear your voice all the time when I walk down the halls at the store. If you don't know Brody Stevens and you are not a big comedy fan, go to his YouTube channel. He has a brand new YouTube channel, and it's got a lot of his work on there. And you're going to be very happy that you ventured onto that YouTube channel. Great guest today. Great guest. A neighbor of mine, a friend of mine, and a likewise lunatic. if that even means anything. Mr. Adam Goldberg, actor Adam Goldberg, producer, writer. You guys may know Adam, of course, from the smash cult film Dazed and Confused, but this man has done a zillion films, including A Beautiful Mind, Saving Private Ryan. He was even on Friends, and we dive into that. He's the only person I know that was ever on Friends. But even in 2015-16, he was on the Jim Gaffigan show where he played a comedian. And we talk all about that, which is pretty cool because I asked him if he ever wanted to do comedy, and we'll get into that. But this man has been working his entire life nonstop. And we met in a funny way through Craigslist. Craigslist! You're going to enjoy this episode. I really like talking to this man. We are both nut jobs about denim, glasses, boots, all kinds of stuff. And he's a camera freak, too. He's got a massive camera collection, a great audio collection, vinyl. And you guys are going to love this. We go all over the place. At one point, I was like, is this podcast is it even making any sense? We were all over, and I loved it. I listened back to it yesterday, and I absolutely love it. I want to give a shout out to some of the new Patreoners. Patreon.com/Dean Del Rey is where all the bonus episodes are. There's tons of them out there right now. Get your bonus Let There Be Talks. A lot of solo episodes of me going crazy. Welcome aboard Dallas Bolin, Matthew Bokima, Joran48, OU821. All right, buddy. Matt Levely and Max Fleury. Welcome aboard. Brand new Patreoners. I cannot thank you enough. And I also want to tell everybody, check out the great Bon Scott tribute that we're doing March 10th. The tickets are on sale right now, DeanDelRey.com, and a lot of headlining dates are coming up. It was great to be out with Mark Maron, but I'm dying to get out there and headline and dig in and find some of this new material, find out if it's working or not. And so it'll be great. And there's all kinds of cities coming up. This Wednesday, I'm going to be in San Francisco, one night only at the Chapel. March 7th, I will be at the Venue in Austin, Texas. That's one night. March 27th, Tempe, Arizona. That's 27th through the 29th. Tempe, Arizona Improv. Finally going there. Can't wait. May 1st through the 3rd, the Comedy Store in La Jolla. Awesome. May 24th, the Winchester in Lakewood, Ohio. If you did get tickets for the gigs in Portsmouth, I got to say sorry, man. I don't know what the hell happened. The venue got greedy or something and just double booked it. And they were like, yeah, we got to take this booking Saturday. Sorry. Just do the 2 Friday. I'm like, I'm not flying across country for 2 shows on a Friday. And then, it's like, you booked me for the weekend. Anyway, that shit happens once in a while, and it makes me crazy because now I've got an open weekend, and I was looking forward to going somewhere I'd never done comedy. But that's the name of the game. That's the game, man. That is the game. Okay, like I said, Bon Scott Tribute is on sale right now, and let me tell you who's playing. I can't believe there's even tickets left still. People might be sleeping on this, and I don't want to get a lot of emails like, oh, dude, it's sold out. I didn't get my ticket. I never understood why people think that these big shows are not going to sell out. Bill Burr is doing comedy and playing drums on the show, and Bill Burr sold out the LA Forum on his own. So if you don't think this 700 or 1,000 seater is going to sell out, you're poorly mistaken. Here's who's in the all-star band. Bill Burr on drums, Jerry Cantrell and Mike Inez from Alice in Chains, both sitting in. I'm going to be singing the whole show. Steve Gorman on drums from the Black Crowes, laying down some serious groove. Scott Holiday of Rival Sons playing a couple songs. Larry, my man Lur from Primus, he's jumping in. Tommy Lee, motherfuckers, from Motley Crue. Tommy Lee going to play a song. Juliette Lewis is going to pop on and sing a song with me. Oh, my God, it's going to be great. Dave Lombardo, he is going to be a monster doing some drums. Billy Rowe from Jet Boy, my man. Phil from Solo Dallas, he's going to be bringing the gear and killing it. Brad Wilk, Rage Against the Machine drummer. Josh Z, and more. Get your tickets right now, March 10th, 7 p.m. at the Avalon in Hollywood. Fly out for this. I'm telling you, it's the last one. Fly out. See this. Do not miss it. All right, let's get into it right now. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I love all you. See you Wednesday, San Francisco. Here he is, the great Adam Goldberg. All right. My fucking Craigslist friend is here. Hilarious. Introduce yourself.
This is Adam Charles Goldberg of Craigslist number 187520F. I believe that's the listing. Actually, maybe we should get the actual listing. Folks could look it up. Isn't there like dead links for old listings?
Is it still? I think it still might be on there, right?
I hope not.
Oh no, I took it off.
Yeah,
I took it off.
Yeah, it might exist in the annals of the internet.
Yeah, let's tell that story. It's hilarious because I post this ad up for my receiver,
right?
Which. By the way, people are like, you sold your records? How could you do it?
Yeah, I know. People get really...
They go crazy.
I know, really offended by it, right?
But I'm at an age now that it's like, I just don't want to have anything. Because I don't have kids like you. I don't have a wife or anything.
Right. Yeah.
If I die...
Yeah.
This shit's just all in here. And then people come over and go, man, we got to deal with all this shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're magnanimous. You're thinking about your friends.
Yeah. And also I'm just thinking about just not having shit.
Yeah. I would like to be that person, but I'm the opposite. We literally just bought a house and we had to buy a house that essentially had its own floor for me. I mean, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
I don't even go down there. But it's where like the stereo equipment is, all the cameras, the recording equipment. I mean, stuff I definitely use,
right? But
not all at one time, and not lately, because now I have 2 kids, a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. I don't fucking do anything except like watch MSNBC for about an hour at night, you know? and then tweet something and then go to bed.
Oh no, you Instagram like a motherfucker.
Well, let's be clear. There is some Instagram going on.
Yeah. But it's funny because I don't mind owning stuff. Like I love watches, and I could easily have 20 watches, but that takes up about a 1 by 1 foot spot in your house.
Yeah.
Records, and as you see in my apartment here, they are a commitment. If I owned a house, I would have records.
Well, it's also nice to look at. It's warm. You know what I mean? It's like it becomes a little bit like you're furnishing. You know?
It's great.
But and it's like books. I haven't read a book in probably 25 years.
Yeah. But they do soak up some sound and give a room a nice ambiance. Like if somebody comes over, they go, "This guy reads."
Yeah, no, literally, I was like, we moved and we don't have bookshelves, so I got a couple of them.
Yeah.
I have all the books I've owned my whole life. So since I was in school.
Yeah.
But they're not organized in any fashion. I'm unpacking the books and I'm like, so what books do I want to have kind of on display? Because, I was like, oh yeah, I'll stick the Iliad up there. The Iliad? And my 1-year-old just keeps going and picking up the Iliad, and it's just sort of like, I could have more age-appropriate books around for them, but instead I have this tattered copy of the Iliad from when I pretended to read it in 10th grade,
Yeah.
And
I went through that whole Bukowski phase.
Oh, well, yeah.
You got all the Bukowski books, and then I went through all the photo books. Like, I got to have all the Taschen books.
I know the Taschen books.
They weigh like 800 pounds.
I have the fucking all the mid-century.
Yeah, that shit. Yeah. I love that shit though. But now, I just go online.
No, I know. My mother for Christmas got me this Walter Parks hardcover book set, and it was really thoughtful. I'm whispering as though if I whisper it, then she won't hear it on the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's 5 books, and I'm just like, Mom, have you seen that? There's no space for one of them. here's a 5-book hardcover. You know what I mean? When I was like in my 20s and shit.
Yeah.
But now, but having said that, well, you know, I mean, the clothes alone take up I out-own my wife 2-1. Nobody likes to hear that. Everyone thinks it's, how dare you?
Yeah.
Your wife doesn't, you don't allow your wife. No, do whatever she wants. I just, you know, take up more closet space.
I love clothing. And I'm into clothing, boots.
What are we wearing today? You got some PBJ jeans on.
PBJs.
I saw the little leaf on your derriere as I walked out. I'm going to guess the sweatshirt. Don't even tell me.
Yeah.
Hold on. It's a loop-wheeled sweatshirt.
Yeah. Super nerd out here.
All right. It's not. Is it Flathead?
No, it's some company I've never bought. Actually, I've never bought, so I always forget. What is this?
It is Warehouse. They make good T-shirts, I think.
Oh
no. Warehouse makes a. I have a vest of theirs.
I never wore this brand ever, but I
Japanese,
I'm hooked. I got neck surgery.
Right.
So I'm into kind of dad clothes right now, but they gotta be slim and cool, not all fucking boxy and lame.
Yeah.
So
no, that's how I have to be now.
Yeah, I mean my leather jacket back there, it hasn't been worn in a month.
I just bought 11 leather jackets for Christmas for myself. I'm out of my fucking mind.
Yeah. You saw my closet.
No, I know. My wife is like, people need one leather jacket.
Yeah.
Show me one person who's got. I was like, I will. I'm going to take a fucking picture of Dean's fucking closet, and then you're going to see I'm not the only. Yes, I am insane, but I'm not the only insane person.
Yeah.
Their entire Instagram account's dedicated to people's crazy fucking leather jacket obsession.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. But it's funny. It's between me, you, and John Mayer. I think that we're all like. We just love great shit.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I know you can't. It's like, in my mind, it's always like, well, this company's going to be gone in a year. There's no way they're going to be around. This shit's too good.
Yeah.
It takes too long to make.
Right, exactly.
They'll be gone, or they'll sell it. And
well, no, they make 12 of them or whatever. So you have to get it.
You got to get it. And I believe in that. But as far as other stuff, like getting back to the records, it was like I moved 3 times in a year. These things weighed 1,000 pounds. And every time I get to an apartment, as you see here, I was like, well, where am I going to put them?
Yeah.
Okay, I got sun coming here. Yeah. So I got, okay, the records will go there and over there. Yeah. Where's the stereo going to go? Okay, it'll go there, but I got this archway.
Let's talk about your speakers, though, because those are fucking sick. So I went to Ahead.
Yeah.
Because I was going there anyway. That's who was just over at my house, by the way. Fixing the turntable that I got to go with the receiver I bought from you, but the PL570... 70s turntable. It's a fucking disaster. That's another story. I literally waited almost a decade to buy that turntable because I'd heard there were so many problems. I finally fucking pulled the trigger on one and buzzing to no end.
Oh my God. I saw it on your...
I opened the thing up. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I saw you. You just...
For 3 hours.
You opened your turntable.
I opened the whole thing up and I started searching for the fucking ground problem.
Why it's plugged in. You could get shocked.
Oh, I could totally have got... It says right there, don't do this.
Yeah.
Plugged in, touching everything I can, touching it with like erasers.
I saw you. You're just poking
around until something stops or electrocutes me.
Yeah.
I did make it stop.
It was almost... It's funny because you're in one of my favorite films ever, The Salton Sea. It's almost a meth tweaker thing.
Well, I took, I think, Excedrin that night, which has a lot of caffeine.
Yeah.
So if I take Excedrin at night, it's basically like I always call, because I take Excedrin and Ativan. Those are sort of my, if I'm going to come clean about my addictions or whatever.
Yeah.
It's my low grade sort of speedball. I call it Semitic speedball.
I got Ativan right there. Do you still use it?
I just took Excedrin and Ativan on the way over. I've had a sinus infection for like 2 fucking weeks.
Yeah, same here. What the fuck?
I don't know. I'm about to go to the doctor,
man.
Literally, I have a fucking.
I'm fucking dying over here.
What's the deal? I think everybody's got this fucking thing.
And
then my doctor, who I have a texting relationship with, is like, "You need to be seen." I'm like, "Why are you fucking scaring me?"
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the guy next door to me, he wasn't in town. He got strep in his arm, and he went to the hospital for 8 days. He had like a fucking blood infection.
Whoa.
And so now I'm freaked out that there's like he's gonna strep. Somehow it's gonna leak over from his house.
Strep in his arm?
And you can get strep infections anywhere.
I didn't ever knew that.
Oh yeah, now you know.
We are all over the board here. I love it. This is the greatest ADD podcast of all time.
Well, all right, but
as long as we cover all the bases.
Tell me, though, about the speakers, though.
Okay.
Because these are the best Wi-Fi speakers, got to be on the planet.
Yeah, these are, well, first of all, I like to tell everybody, it wasn't like I just made a sudden shotgun freak out of like, records are out of here.
Yeah.
Everybody knows records have been a huge part of my life, and my stereo was a huge part of my life and everything. But it, like I said, I moved 3 times.
Yeah.
I had these fucking records in storage for a year while I was in New York, and I got back. I came in here. I got this new apartment. I was like, where am I going to put them? In the meantime, I was in New York, and I was in an Apple store in Soho. Mm-hmm. I hear this guy cranking a fucking stereo, cranking it in the Apple store. You know how he is. I mean, it's like boom, 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 boom.
Like Guitar Center.
He's playing Biggie Smalls at the biggest, loudest, you know. Who the fuck is this? Paging me at 546. I'm like, what the fuck? I go, what is that thing? I look over, it's this white egg, and it's just throbbing. Bam, bam. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go over and I'm looking at it. I go, oh man, I gotta have this. This is cool for my New York apartment. I'm thinking. Yeah. Then the guy goes, oh man, there's a dude sitting in there. He goes, yeah, you should go around the corner to the store and listen to him in stereo. Yeah. I go, stereo? He goes, yeah, 2. This is just 1.
Right.
They're only playing 1 at the shop. Yeah. So I go around the corner. The shop is DVLA, and they look like these weird Mork from Ork. Art Deco eggs.
Sort of like Kubrick-y.
Yep.
But with nice wood, like the nice blonde wood legs, tripod legs.
Beautiful wood legs and everything. And they had three versions. They got a kind of a 500 watt one. Then they had a 3,000 watt one, which was the silver. And then they had the 4,500 watt golds. They had a room that was like a case. And me and my buddy Jesse Metcalf, who's an actor buddy of mine, we go into the case. Yeah. The guy throws on anytime somebody wants to sell you a stereo, it's a Steely Dan or Dark Side of the Moon. Those are the 2. Or some Miles Davis.
You put Steely Dan on when I came over.
Right.
You were trying to sell me these without even trying to sell me these. Well, I almost went home and fucking bought them. I don't even need them.
I know. Yeah. So when I hear he puts on Dark Side of the Moon first. Yeah. And, you know, boom, take me away. Yeah. You know, it's got the school clock comes on. Right. And me and my buddy Jesse are in there. We look at each other and we're like, what the fuck is going on right now? Yeah. And they're streaming it through Tidal. And I never would ever make this choice. Yeah. Until the streaming and the speakers have caught up to technology. It's always like, look, I got a bunch of streaming speakers right here. I got a great Bose I bring on the road. Clips has given me some fantastic streaming one for my bedroom. But it's always, it is what it is compared to the analog. But this was the first time in my life that I was like, oh, I could get rid of records.
Oh no, these were mind-blowing. They sounded better. I mean, I got the Bowers and Wilkins. Yeah. Fucking, Towers. I got the fucking Macintosh amp, the whole thing. Yeah. And this sounds better.
So then I said, they sent me some. They said, you could use them for a little bit and tell me if you like them. And after a week, I go, I could sell. That's you. I was like, I could sell my records.
If it's my doctor, I got to answer it.
Okay.
I don't think he's 818 though. I mean, what kind of doctor would that be?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you know what kind of doctor that is.
I know.
But so I listened to him for about a week, and I go, I could sell the records. Yeah. So I sold all the records.
You really sold them, huh?
Oh yeah. And Marin, I called Marin, and he goes, yeah, call up Dan over there. Sure, give me. So he came over, cool guy. Yeah. Because I didn't want to try to sell. I
realized I brought you a record. Isn't that funny?
Oh, you did?
I brought you my record, which is the only time I put something on vinyl. But it comes with a book, so you don't even have to listen to
I'll
it.
take it anyway.
Well, that's the irony. I actually gave you a book, and I gave you the two things that are the most fucking space-consuming.
I'm trying to clear out my
I know,
house.
right? Here. You know, I would not be offended if you sold it. In fact, it would be nice because that would probably be like twice as many people to ever hear or look at the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You and then the guy you sell it to.
So I sold everything, and I bought these speakers. And now I'm just in this fucking freedom. And then I got rid of all my books except some key ones over here. Yeah. My Bowie photo book. Yeah. Some watch books that I love.
You didn't get rid of your trucker caps, though.
No, those I just wear to the gym. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how I walk to the gym. Right. You know what I mean? They're $8.
You have a Gallagher hat?
Yeah, isn't that a good one?
That's actually pretty good.
How about that Mr. Bill?
Yeah, Mr. Bill is good.
Yeah.
Mr. Bill was the reason that I wanted to watch Saturday Night Live when I was 7 years old.
How great was Mr. Bill?
All I cared about when I was because when did it air? 76 or 77?
70, yeah, the first year. Well, he wasn't on Mr. Bill till late, like I think 2 years in or something. So maybe.
So it was 77 because I remember my parents. It was after my parents got divorced. I was living with my mom, so it was 76 or 77, and one night, all I knew is that people were doing Mr. Bill at school. I mean, I don't know what kind of fucking school I went to where the kids were doing Mr. Bill, but it was a thing, but I hadn't seen it. And it was just like candy. It was like this thing that I finally got to see. I don't even know if it blew my mind as much as I was 7 for one, you know? Yeah. But it was just the idea that it was like this total fetishized thing. And to this day, I get this like warm feeling.
Well, look at my Mr. Bill doll.
Oh, shit. You have a Mr. Bill doll right there.
It made the, hold on, I gotta look at it.
What does it do? Can you smash it? Is it squeezable? Does it say anything? I have a lot of questions.
It's great.
What fit are those PBJs? I always have I have trouble with the fit.
The 11. I only wear the 11, the slim one. Yeah, I don't.
They look good on you. Mine, they were too tight on me.
Well, you know they make the other cut, the 13.
Yeah.
You're just like me, dude. I look at a guy wearing jeans, and you're just like. Hey, those never look good on me.
Right.
What the fuck, man?
Right.
I see some dudes wearing just a dumb boxy 501, and I'm like, hey, that looks good on that guy. I put it on, I look like a fucking round donut. You know what I mean? Here you go.
Yes. Oh my god. That's the original doll.
Yeah, man. Look how long I've had it. It's so funny. It made the cut of the minimalist cut.
He's got kind of a tight belt.
Yeah, right? Look how low his jeans are. Mr. Bill was early hipster.
I know, super.
Early hipster. But I in a sad way, I feel like I am Mr. Bill. I just want a dog spot. And you know what I mean? Just leave me alone.
Right.
I guess Dan Aykroyd did the voice.
Oh, did he? I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I didn't even thought about who did the voice.
I didn't either, actually.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, right?
You think of it as being some total ancillary voiceover guy, writer or something.
Yeah. I never even thought who did the voice. And of course, a Saturday Night Live guy did it. Let's look real quick. I'm almost 100% it was him, Mr. Bill.
Did he have a Canadian accent, Mr. Bill?
Voice. Oh, no. I have to go out. Let's see. Sorry. Mr. Bill. Oh, wow. The creator was named Walter Williams.
Oh, and Mr. Bill.
Let's see. Yeah, right. Let's see who the voice was. I heard it was him. Oh, man. It came out in 76 the first time.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so fucking good and early. Let's see. Earliest installments, high-pitched voice. Wait a minute. Okay. Initially, the sketches featured Mr. Bill were self-contained episodes with no direct continuity, with the earliest installments featuring higher-pitched character voices. After Walter Williams joined SNL writing staff, Mr. Bill formally moved to New York and became aware of Mr. Hands and Sluggo. That's all that stuff we know. That's the mean shit. Oh, here it is. Chevy Chase. Wait, it doesn't say. Wait, who's the voice?
There's not a separate little. No, that's a very short bio.
Yeah,
his Wikipedia is about as long as mine.
No, yours is huge.
It's not.
I was looking at it, man.
It's not. I mean, I don't want to be the guy who's complaining about my Wikipedia page. No, it's a weak Wikipedia page. Also, I believe my dog is referred to as Digger. I don't have a dog named Digger.
Oh yeah, I saw
Never
that.
had a dog named Digger.
That's
I
hilarious.
have a dog named the Sheriff and a dog named Simone.
You had a dog named
I
Sheriff?
still do. He's this fucking blind miniature pinscher. There was a long time ago, I dated an actress, and we had a dog. I had a dog, Jack. Here he is on my arm.
He's tattooed on you, badass.
He was a real dog, right?
Yeah.
He died. Anyway, right before he died, she wanted to get this little miniature toy dog. I was like, oh, God, okay, fine. But somehow I got closer with him, and then when we broke up, I guess I kidnapped him, basically, and so now he's my dog. And then I got him a friend, Simone, and she's a fucking neurotic basket case. And now they're both old, neurotic miniature pinchers who's shitting and pissing everywhere, but neither of them are named Digger. That's the bottom. That's what I need to clear up here.
Sheriff!
The Sheriff, yeah. So anyway, all right.
All right, let's get into it a little bit. You grew up in L.A.
Yeah. I'm from Los Angeles. Yeah.
And so you answer my my Craigslist ad.
All right. Well, so why was I looking for 2275? That's the question.
Because when you're looking for a Marantz, and Mark Maron and I both love Marantz. We both were talking about this. There's really only two you need: the 2270 or the 2275.
And I was thinking about the 070, but then I read it wasn't as warm as the 75.
It's funny because when you go down that rabbit hole, which I did years ago and really studied every one, the reason I wanted one when I was a kid, my neighbor's parents had this Marantz stereo.
Right.
And Dad would always be like, "Don't you touch this fucking stereo while I'm at work." As soon as he's gone, there we are. I remember specifically we had Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
We'd put that thing on and we'd turn it up. And it's Marantz and it had the blue lights. And it's always kind of the blue collar, poor man's Macintosh.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was just such a 70s thing. So when I decided to put together my stereo, I didn't have money for a Macintosh. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a Marantz.
Yeah.
So what Marantz do I get? There's millions of them. And they were all made in this one era. So I start reading. It comes down to 2270, 2275. Mm-hmm. So I search them out. There's a shitload of junky ones out there. Yeah. I'd be on the road. I'd go to pawn shops and shit.
Yeah.
I was in some state, went into this old receiver shop. They had like 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they were all beat up.
Yeah.
They've been, messed with. What you want to get is like a mint one to start with.
Yeah.
And then be able to have a guy that can always service it or whatever.
Yeah.
So I bought a 2270 from some guy here in town, an older dude. And then I bought the 2275 that you bought from an older Asian guy from Pasadena. He drove it over. He brought the thing over. And
what part of Asia?
I should have asked him.
What part of Asia are you from?
I should have asked him, but I remember I couldn't believe he was selling it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm the original owner.
Right. I remember you. Yeah, that's what it said.
He pulled the blanket off. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
But immediately I had to throw some money into it. It hadn't been serviced in years.
Yeah.
Half the lights were out.
Right.
And
the lights, I'm telling you, are the best. My little 1-year-old is fucking obsessed. So part of the idea, I have a downstairs system. That's the Mac. Got the Mac turntable. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't need all that shit.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is upstairs, I wanted something that reminded me of my childhood, for real. So we didn't have a Marantz. I've been asking my mom. I was like, what the fuck was that? A Kenwood? Like, she can't remember, but I think it might have been a Kenwood.
Right.
But, it was the wood case. It had the lighter face. It was one of those big 70s Japanese.
Yeah, they had
models.
like Sanyo.
Yeah, it was one of them. Right.
Yeah.
And that's my life, man. That's how I got into music. That's how that was my gateway into anything musical was that receiver. And so it's like I want my kids to see that music comes from like a fucking source, right? Like we go into our friend's house and it's like, Alexa, will you play? My son starts fucking talking into shit.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, Alexa. I'm like, no. You can't just talk into anything and it's gonna play music. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So we on purpose. We don't have a smart speaker or whatever. I mean, it's tempting, but So I'm like, I want him to see that, like, it comes from a record, like, not for everything. You know, I don't want to be a dick about it.
Of course. You don't want to be some analog weirdo, like, we're from the 40s.
Right.
You know, but rotary phone.
Right, no, but we do. I have the rotary phone. So my little boy, so my 1-year-old, this is actually kind of depressing, but when I was away working recently, he kept picking up the rotary phone going, da-da, da-da. That was like a Twilight Zone, and but he also gets that it's an iPhone too. You know what I mean? Like, just to have a sense that there are things that like sit on the ground that you pick up, that you have to touch and interact with or whatever. And he's just fucking obsessed. And it's because there's an area in the house that you have to go to, and the 1-year-old just keeps going more. He only knows like 5 words, and one of them is more. And he keeps pointing to that system.
I see him on Instagram, and he's grabbing it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and then you're like, no.
I'm losing my mind.
No, I know.
Like, hey.
No, I know. He's been really good. He gets where the power button is. He gets where the start stop is on the PL570, and he gets how to put down the dust cover, and that's all he needs to know.
Wow.
It's really and Bud, my older one, did the same exact thing. I mean, it was like it was like a routine. We do a little dance party and blah blah blah. And there's just something about it, you know. I mean, I don't honestly. It's not the end all be all, but it creates warmth. It creates an area in your house that's specific for music, rather than this idea that it's just fucking coming from everywhere, wherever you are.
Yeah, my buddy just did it with his kid with CDs, because CDs are $1 now. So he just went down.
I almost want to unpack my CDs, because now suddenly I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, well, he just got he got the kid like 20 CDs for $20.
Right.
He got him a CD player and some speakers, and the kid puts them in and understands this is my jam, Green Day. You know?
No, I've been looking for. This is ridiculous, this conversation, but I've been looking for a clock radio. It's like, and I'm like, it has to be Bluetooth. It has to charge my phone, but like, I want it also to like be a proper fucking clock radio. I don't want to use my phone as a clock radio. You know? So now I've gone into some weird Wi-Fi fucking radio wormhole or whatever.
I had the Bose for years.
Well, that's what I'm looking at again. And
I had that for years.
Because that was always the one. But it's like, do I want to... It's that large partly because of the CD player. And it's like, I don't have a CD for my... You know, the only CDs I have are the ones I made. Yeah. Like my CDs. And then the rest of them are in boxes. So are the ones I made.
But you just get like 20.
Yeah, I know.
They're cool. So like when you get up in the morning,
you just stick it in.
Just throw one on. Yeah. You don't have hundreds, but 20.
Yeah, right.
You know, you got like a Zeppelin.
Right.
You got like a Sade. Right. You know, just this weird.
I like that it's Zeppelin. Yeah. I know, right. You cover your bases.
Yeah. Some weird shit.
Yeah.
Zappa. And then you just pop them on in your clock radio.
But what's crazy is that this conversation is so weird because it wasn't that long ago. Yeah. I mean, when the iPod first came out, first of all, I was just like, what the fuck is this thing?
Oh, I couldn't believe it. My head blew off when it came out.
I literally didn't understand it. My pal had one who was one of those guys who got the first of everything. And I'm like, I don't know why you have that. I go, I have CDs. What the fuck is that thing? Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, can't live without it. And then I'm like, okay, this is a weird glitch. You have to plug it into your computer like to get the music. Like, why isn't there something that you can do over Wi-Fi? And I was like, as though I invented this. But I was saying this for years, and the iPhone comes out, and I'm like, fucking yes. And then it takes how many fucking iterations of the iPhone before you can even fucking put your music on it because there was no cloud, and the thing would fill up after 11 songs. So really, we're only in maybe 5 years of this. Maybe? Of cloud-based music, 6 years? I don't know what it is. Maybe a little
It's wild. I mean, it is really wild. Yeah. I remember when the iPod first came out, I was DJing at the time.
Oh, you were?
I just started DJing with the iPod.
Well, why not?
Yeah, because I used to bring like records, and then I was using, Tractor. And the program Tractor. And you know, you just like, then you just had like one fake record, and you got the stuff up. And then I just... Like, if they weren't paying me a lot of money...
There's a playlist, motherfucker.
I just showed up with my iPod and my computer to look like I was doing stuff.
You were surfing.
Oh, yeah, I was just surfing. And I just had a playlist going. And then I would eat and get the money and leave, you know?
I know. Well, that's why when anyone ever has said to me in the last 5 years... I never DJ'd, but every once in a while it's come up where, like, do you want to DJ? I'm like... But what does it really entail? Why don't I send you a fucking link to a playlist of mine? And then there, look, I DJ'd.
Yeah.
Come on.
So I had the 2270 and I had the 2275.
And you A-B'd them, you said.
I A-B'd them for about a month.
A month.
I really got into it. You know, like I would be like, and I find that if you have two back to back, for a while you're like, this one's good.
Right.
Oh no, this is the one.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the 7.5 had more bottom end.
No,
it also
can I
had
tell you something?
two turntable jacks.
I have two. So downstairs I have the Tower B&W speakers, but upstairs I have the bookshelves, and they've never been great on their own. They always needed a woofer, blah blah blah. Because I actually was using it, interestingly, with a new Marantz, because I was using it in a home theater system at my old house. And so this, suddenly I was like, holy shit. Those speakers never sounded like that before.
Right.
It's like a whole other thing.
They sound
I don't
so
even
good.
want the sub.
Yeah, and then through the Klipsch Forte 3s, it's just this like, it's like old school. I put it on, it's straight 70s.
Yeah, no, we just tested it just now because I just had to swap out my fucking turntable. Anyway, and with some OJ's record. And it was just like big booming fucking yeah, it's great. It's a great fucking receiver. And then also like I have like the classical music station on all the time. It's great. I just turn on it's just there's something just so it's just easier. I don't like fucking menu diving into my goddamn phone.
I know. Well,
I actually get a feeling of like a little mini dread when I have to. Like we have a party, and I have to do the Sonos thing. It's like a kind of a sickly.
Oh yeah.
Like stress. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas I used to I'd make a tape or what. I mean, I guess it's the same thing. You make a playlist, but still, is something gonna go out? One of the speakers gonna go out? Is the fucking internet gonna go down?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I've been using Amazon HD streaming in the last couple months and went down that rabbit hole between Tidal and Amazon.
I've been going back and forth between Tidal and iTunes, and
well, that's night and day to me.
It's total night and day, except that the last record I put out sounds like complete garbage on Tidal and sounds better on iTunes, and I don't know why.
Well, I think you're going to probably get that for a little while until everybody figures out, I think we're going to get into some streaming wars now, which is going to be amazing. We're going to get into iTunes is now the third or fourth thing that you want to use as far as streaming. And I'm not talking about Spotify or Sirius or any of that shit. I'm talking about the ones there's that one QB or whatever. There's like a European one. Then there's Tidal, Amazon, and iTunes. And when you listen to iTunes now, it's like, wow, I never even noticed it before.
I know.
People like Neil Young are going crazy forever.
Well, I know. I was like, give me a break. It was so esoteric to me, you know?
Yeah.
Like because I was sort of like, it's lost. I mean, you're not. It's not sourced from the source. Who cares?
Yeah. We know what it is.
Yeah.
It's either you go records or this is it.
Right.
But I did like that he was bad on this. So when he was like on Amazon going, this is finally what it, because he had his own thing he was trying to launch.
That's the thing, wasn't it? And he had his own player.
It had his own player, which is cool. I thought that was pretty cool.
It seemed like crazy.
He was going nuts about it.
Yeah. He's Canadian.
What?
He's Canadian.
Canadian. So, yeah. A deep Canada too. He's not just your Vancouver
I know.
slid in from Seattle. He's up in the fucking cold world.
I know.
He's one of my all-time favorites and just a god.
I fucking love Neil.
That's why he's great, because he's crazy.
Fucking love him. I love him, and I've never seen him play.
Oh, what?
I know. It's one of those weird things that just happen. You know how certain things slip through the cracks?
Oh, wow.
He's one of my all-time favorite guys. Like, I've seen Dylan a couple times, and, it hasn't been,
Right.
And
Dylan is just, you just go for the lunacy.
Right.
I just like looking at him.
Yeah, no, of course.
Like, holy shit,
that's Bob Dylan. It's Bob Dylan.
That's a goddamn legend right there.
Exactly. But no, I never, I remember the show that I really wanted to go to that I don't know what, but was the Sonic Youth Neil Young tour that everybody said was the craziest and loudest thing they had ever been.
Right.
No, I watch YouTube videos until the fucking wee hours of Neil Young.
Yeah.
I've never, for whatever reason, just never seen him.
I saw him in all kinds of formations.
Yeah, like
I've seen him
with the crazy horse,
all that shit. But man, he did a tour with the Booker T and the MGs as his band.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
This shit was insane.
Really?
You can watch it on YouTube and hear it.
Yeah.
It's next level.
Really?
Oh fuck, man.
it's just everything. I mean, the songwriting, the fucking guitar playing, the fact that he could jump back and forth, and then and of course there was that little electronic era.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he's just I in fact on occasion will think about how sad I'll be when he dies. There's certain guys like that.
Oh man, yeah.
Like Bowie was like, I was really freaked out when Bowie died.
I remember Bowie died. I was coming out of Tool concert in San Diego. And Tool had this kind of thing. Hey, don't have your phones on. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking respect that.
Yeah.
And when I got out, I got like 100 texts. My phone's blowing up. The second I stepped out of the concert, it was a Sunday night, I believe, and I was in San Diego seeing Tool, and I was like, oh, fucking Bowie died.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I know. I remember my wife read it on something, and we were in bed, and she goes, oh my God. And she knew that I was gonna be. And like it was weird. It was like she broke it to me like it was a friend, and I fucking cried.
Yeah.
I've literally, it's crazy. I think I've cried 3 times when someone I have never met, who was someone I listened to, died. Elliott Smith, I think I cried. I cried when Mark Linkous from Sparkle Horse died, and I cried when.
How great is that Sparkle Horse record?
I was really in deep with Sparkle Horse. I mean
that guy was amazing, man.
All these fucking dudes though, and then fucking David Berman, all these guys just offing themselves, man. It's just fucking awful.
Yeah,
it's just awful.
And that Elliott Smith, man, "Stupidity Tries" is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. That song.
Yeah,
man.
no, he really changed. I think the landscape for.
There was that era, man, where you had like Jeff Buckley, Elliott Smith, Sparkle Horse. You had all this like really deep, cool music. Red House Painters, this kind of stuff where it was like, wow, this is some great, great music.
Yeah, when people were like, and they were writing. I mean, they were really writing, but also just. I mean, especially with like, guys like playing their own shit. Elliott Smith would play everything on the record. Mark Linkous would play everything on his records. They get different people, to tour, with. And they're obviously like enigmatic and kind of, weird and whatever. And then, of course, I mean, the way Elliott Smith went out was just fucking awful. It was just awful. I saw him play a bunch, but I saw him at a Flaming Lips show, sitting across the aisle from us. And that night he got thrown out.
Oh, wow.
He tried to punch somebody or something. I mean, he was just a fucking mess. But
you grew up in LA. How did you start getting into music? You played music like me, and
I grew up in LA. And I went to one of these schools where like everybody's kid is famous. So I went to school with like Frank Zappa's kids or whatever.
Oh, Moon and them.
Yeah, but I never played in high school. Like I played drums, but I was always real kind of shy. So I'd kind of jam with people at their house, but I never played in a band. I just played actually to Bowie records. That was like my big thing. My big connection to Bowie was I would sit at home and I would play to all these David Bowie records. And so that was like kind of what I did musically when I was a kid. And I didn't really get into like playing in any kind of band situation until I was actually in my early 20s. Dropped out of college, was already acting, and I wouldn't ever fucking play you anything I made back then. And it wasn't really until I was like 30 that I started taking music more seriously. But I I grew up here, and then went to college for a year at Sarah Lawrence. Kind of had pretty much a nervous breakdown. Like I really was like not functional. Came back and joined an acting class. I'd always wanted to act. Joined an acting class, and the guy actually who interviewed me to get into the class, but left the class to become an agent. I went with him, and he started with like a few clients. It was like me, Mike Rappaport. There was It was tiny. He had a tiny little slate of people that he just knew, right? Natasha Lyonne, Clea Duvall. It was just like a little slate of us, and everybody kind of came up with him, and his name was or still is Stephen Levy, and so and then started acting, but then I got more into kind of filmmaking and stuff, but I've never been able to figure out a way to eke out a living making shit that no one really wants to see.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about the Salton Sea. There's this era where there was like a lot of these great films, I was in San Francisco, and I would just go to these movies almost weekly. I think about, Gummo, Drugstore Cowboy,
well, the
River
whole
Phoenix.
that whole decade from like 89 to 99.
Right. But I'm saying all that era of just, there was nonstop killer. And, David Lynch was kind of the king of all that.
The king, yeah.
And I just worship that kind of films. And I think this year has been some of the best films I've seen in a long time.
People have been really talking about that. I don't see anything for two reasons. Here's the thing. Something kind of depressing, I think, has happened to me, and and I'll be frank about it, which is that I was always bitter, but it was more competitive bitter. It was more like a kind of like a drive, Then I think I got old and bitter, and it made it difficult for me to just see. I mean, I'll just be totally blunt, to see people doing good work or work that's really well recognized, and be able to be objective about it the way that I used to be when I was aspiring to that shit.
Right.
But it's more when I found myself in some kind of imagined competition with that. So certain things, I mean, Noah Baumbach is a kind of a good example of someone who, I'd be writing something and I'd go see Greenberg and I'd be like, oh God, I fucking just wrote half of the script. Then I'd shit can the script. This even happened with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I was writing something.
Killer film.
Amazing film. But I was writing something about a guy who gets amnesia and begins dating his ex-girlfriend. He's completely lovelorn, miserable. He fucking hits his head and he ends up having this amnesia, and he has this, and there's this kind of fantastical relationship so I'm kind of halfway through writing the script, and I get sent on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind to read for, to audition for. I can't remember, Elijah Wood's part or something like that. And I'm like, well, fuck that, because this guy did it better. Like Charlie Kaufman. I mean, I remember Charlie feeling like in direct competition with Charlie Kaufman. Not that I was writing anything necessarily that was on that level, but in that milieu, self-referential, blah, blah, blah. This was the stuff that I was really interested in doing.
Imagine being a comedian, dude.
Oh, dude.
So I'm around, Maron, Burr, Rogan, Sebastian.
Well, you're
Ali
physically
Wong.
in the same space all the time.
Yeah, but not only that, but we're mining. We're living in LA. We're living this life.
Right.
Some people, that's why they have kids. That's not why they have kids, but I'm saying when they have kids, then all of a sudden their material's about having kids. Or when you're, that's why everything is in this circle.
Right.
So you start working up a bit and you're like, this is great. Right. And then you're at the club one night and you go, oh fuck, man.
Yeah.
So it is really it's a crazy world how small the art mind.
Oh, it is. I wrote a movie. I actually made this movie, and the other person didn't make this movie. But the fact that there were two movies about this was crazy. I was writing a movie called I Love Your Work, which was a film that was ostensibly about a movie star stalking a fan. It wasn't as genre-ish as it sounds.
Yeah.
In fact, had it been, it probably would have been successful, but it was much more of a kind of, I don't know, nasal. Nasal gazing. That's because I have a sinus infection. Yeah. Navel gazing, exploration about sort of obsession with film and art and that kind of thing. But anyway, the point is that while we were writing it, I got a script sent to me, and it was about a movie star stalking a fan. I was like, what the fuck, man?
It's crazy.
And then, like, around that same time, there was this movie Paparazzi that my friend Cole Hauser was in, which was very strictly a thriller, but still in the same milieu. And I was like, what is this fucking zeitgeist thing where it's like nobody's really ripping each other off? It's just a thing that happens.
It really is.
But the other thing is that sometimes you do, I mean, I've had this thing happen all the time with people that I've collaborated with. Well, neither one of, and I'm not talking about just writing, I'm talking about I've been an actor, maybe they've been the writer. Nobody really knows who came up with it.
Right.
You don't know anymore. Everything becomes, I mean, once you start to work in the same world, especially if obviously you're collaborating on something, it's like it becomes this thing. It becomes almost, it's not yours anymore in some weird way. But the other thing is that I have kids, right?
Right.
And our little kids. And so we just can't fucking stay up to like, I'm like, okay, let's have a date night. We're going to go, not out, dude, downstairs and put on fucking Netflix and watch The Irishman.
Yeah.
Well, if we start The Irishman at 9 o'clock, my wife, I mean, I'll make it because I'm like all fucking hopped up on Excedrin. But she's not going. You know what I mean? No one's making it through The Irishman on fucking Netflix on the fucking comfy couch downstairs.
Yeah, that's why I go to the theater only. I went and saw The Irishman in the theater.
No, I know, and it should be seen that way as far as I'm concerned. I'm kind of shocked he made that deal, but he must know what he's doing.
If I don't see him at the theater, it takes years for me to see it.
Right.
Because I just don't sit home and watch movies.
I don't do it
It's got to
anymore.
be Airplane or the theater.
That's funny. I'm the same way with Airplane. But I used to do it where I had like the projector screen, which there's no room for in the new house.
Yeah.
And and the 5-to-1 and the whole thing, and single-ish or girlfriend dating, whatever.
Right.
But not like in some crazy thing that absorbs all. People over, we're gonna watch Wild at Heart tonight. We all sit around and we watch it, and it's great. And or when I was educating myself, and I would sit down and watch a fucking 3-hour, I don't know fucking what, Law Ventura or something like that. I mean, those days are just gone. It's just not going to come back to me. So I feel like I've lost a certain passion for the thing that inspired me to do what I'm doing, which is really, frankly, depressing. On another level, I kind of feel like, but I'm also more creatively agile than I used to be, and more and sort of, I guess, maybe busier in a sense, so that I feel like anytime I'm sitting around absorbing other people's work, somehow I feel, even if I'm not going to actively go do it, I should at least be contemplating what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then I get nervous, frankly, that if I see too much stuff that's too similar to the world in which that I want to create, that I'll do that thing where I'll kind of through osmosis end up like regurgitating it or something. But this is just, or maybe I've just lost the lust for living. It could be that. I could be just dead inside.
I was there with music,
No.
I played music 25 years.
Yeah.
And people always say, how could you just walk away from that? And I'm like, well, have you done anything for 5 years?
Yeah, right.
Have you dated someone for 5 years?
Yeah, right.
Have you had a job for 5 years?
Yeah.
Have you had anything in your life for 5 years?
Right.
Once you get to 25 years, come talk to me.
Yeah,
I'm talking about full dedication, losing great girlfriends, having no money.
Right.
So until you've done something like that, you're not going to understand how easy it is to walk away from something because it's something you loved so much.
Oh, totally. It's a fucking heartbreaker.
And I found comedy that I love 100 times more than playing music, which I didn't even think was fucking possible.
No, that's the crazy thing, is that I've got to an age where I absolutely start thinking about the things that are facets of my personality that haven't been fully explored in some sort of, whatever you want to call it, professional or artistic way, some sort of creative way. And it's like, and there'll be months and months where I'll be like I'll go to work as an actor and I'll be like, oh right, that's how I make my, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even think of myself that way. I mean, I say, like, I'm living out the dream of a 6-year-old. Dude, I went to see Rocky and wanted to be an actor. I was 6 years fucking old.
Well, also, you got to look at, you started out and fucking boom, you're at a massive level. You work with Spielberg, dude.
That's the other thing. It's like, I actually think, though I made no money, it didn't make me a star or whatever, but doing Dazed and Confused, I remember we all left saying we're fucked. Yeah. Now, people have been in various levels of being fucked since then. Some never worked, some did work, some, I always say, like, for me, my career never changed. It really hasn't. From a certain point, I mean, as I see it, from a certain point, I've just made my living as an actor. That's it.
Well, that's like Philip Seymour until Capote.
Yeah, right.
He's that guy. You're like, oh, I love that guy. What's his name? He's in all of these.
Yeah,
and so, also Christopher Walken for a long time.
Paul Giamatti was like that for a long time.
Giamatti, big time.
So, Giamatti to the point where he was in Saving Private Ryan, and I had just seen Private Parts while we were shooting, and somebody told me that was the same dude, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I'm hanging out, having lunch with the guy. I'm like, you're the guy from you're amazing in that, dude.
Oh. You know what he crushed it in? Was the one, the dude that drew the comic books.
Oh, amazing.
Dude, what's the film?
American Splendor.
Oh my God. Yeah. Judah Freelander crushing it as
a
genuine nerd.
Yeah.
That is, Paul Giamatti and
great.
Philip Seymour were those dudes that
Giamatti was, I agree. Both of those guys.
Oh man, Philip, man, just he was
so fucking versatile.
Almost Famous, dude.
Yeah.
And I heard on the director's cut, he actually had like 120, some kind of weird temperature. He wanted to play that character more up-tempo and shit, but he was completely sick.
No way.
Couldn't post the shoot because he was doing another movie. So he just played it like that. He was sick the whole time.
Right.
Wow.
Amazing. But yeah, no, I felt after like Dazed and Confused, I was like, in a weird way, I go, it's not going to get better than this. I'm 21 years old. I'm in, like, whether it did well or didn't at the time, we all knew it was going to be this cult thing. Like, whether it became Fast Times in that moment was subject to how that film was going to be released, and it became clear early on that Gramercy Pictures, which was a new thing, these mini majors that had just begun, this idea of Sony Classics and all that shit, that wasn't around. Gramercy Pictures, which was a subsidiary of Universal, this was like a big deal, like independent film for a studio, right?
Right.
So anyway, no one knew how it was going to get released, and they fucked it up. That's another story. But we all knew what we were doing was a cult classic. People always say, oh, did you know? I was like, yeah, we knew. I mean, we didn't know how it was going to be edited. We didn't know who would pop. We didn't know if someone was going to be a star or not or whatever. But we knew that it was an important experience. It felt like a seminal experience in our lives and blah, blah, blah. And so I kind of left being like, oh, well, that's that pretty much. Like, because to me, when I was growing up, like, I just wanted to be in Rebel Without a Cause. I wanted to be in some kind of movie that was the thing of its
time. Yeah, you're right. Fast Times, Rebel Without a Cause.
Animal House, American Graffiti.
Caddyshack.
Right. So anything that was interestingly, an ensemble film that captured a moment of youth. Like that to me was like really, to me, kind of my aspiration. So after that, it was just sort of like, okay, shit, now how do I fucking get work? So even when the Spielberg thing came along, believe it or not, I remember being there and thinking like, well, because it was like Vin Diesel's, I think, first part. Jeremy had done a couple things. Ed obviously had done a bunch of movies, but they were his. There was this excitement, but and Barry Pepper, he had just started. It's kind of everybody's sort of big break. And Giovanni had been working tons, and we were pals, so that was sort of like, in fact, I told Giovanni, I said, you got to do this war movie because I'm terrified of going to do a war movie by myself. So you got to come and you got to get this role. So he went and got the fucking part.
How great is that? Your buddies there.
Yeah. So
you're doing a Spielberg film.
Yeah, totally. We were like, what the? But it wasn't that, because same with him. He had been acting since he was a kid. So there was this kind of thing where it was like a job. Strangely, it wasn't this experience. I mean, it was, but I was already, and it sounds crazy now, but I was already 27, I think. Yeah. So it wasn't that crazy.
Yeah, tons of work. You've already done tons of work.
I needed it.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting paid as an actor. It was the biggest thing to this date that I've done. I've got the most, publicity. It was the thing that turned the corner for me on some level, though never in in the way that one might expect. But it wasn't that thing, that first thing. And and honestly, once that kind of came and went, I've been trying to forge my own, identity as an artist, which is totally unrelated to what I've done as an actor. I mean, it really is. Yeah. And the rest of it is just like, how can I? It's a con game, I mean, how can I finagle my way through this year?
Yeah. I mean, I always love acting, and I think that if I would have taken it on like I did music or comedy, I would have had some good success on it. But I've done a bunch of stuff, and it's so hard. And I mean, some of the guys I love, like Matt Dillon, I don't know if you saw that, the house that Jack built, his film this year about a serial killer.
Oh, right. No, I heard about it. Yeah.
Holy shit, that thing's gnarly. But Matt Dillon's a type of guy that I loved his career. He's a lot like a Neil Young, where he just always put out great art, and he didn't need to be the superstar, and he did, you know what I'm saying?
Which is wild, because obviously he was such a fucking heartthrob or whatever.
Early on, with like Little Darlings and Over the Edge.
But even then he was doing cool shit.
He was doing Over the Edge. I mean, look at that.
But all that S.E. Hinton shit was cool.
Oh, God, The Outsiders. Yeah. I mean, The Outsiders, he's just an absolute god.
He really is. That's funny, because that's when I was a kid, that's who I wanted to be.
That's the film, man, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It was the same kind of thing, though. All those kids, like, I've watched that behind the scenes, whatever special feature shit on the Coppola DVD, and you see all these kids hanging out, and that was the deal, man. Like, that was what you wanted, was like this kind of group, this like education, And honestly, I just haven't had that happen that much. So it's like, my dream was to have the Cassavetes. I tried to do it as a filmmaker a little bit, where I tried to form a group of guys, and it didn't really. I mean, it was guys I would work with here and there, and we were friends, but it was kind of like. It was like, unless I was kind of fucking wrestling everybody to the ground to fucking get there, it wasn't happening. And I was just like, well, fuck it.
Well, that's the weird thing about acting that I noticed that only happens compared to music or comedy. It's weird. It's like you're on this set for months with these people, and you think, okay, after this, man, let's go to some concerts, and maybe we'll write a film, and we'll do some other shit. You never see these guys again.
No, it's very weird. I mean, you can maintain friendships for sure, but that idea of like, it happens occasionally, but
it does.
Not as often.
Yeah,
as
like
you would
Mike
think.
Beach and I are really tight.
Yeah.
But here I thought, like, Ice Cube. I did a movie with Ice Cube. I go, after this, we're gonna be we're gonna start a podcast.
Yeah. No, I know. Jesus Christ. No, I mean, literally, since I did Maron's show, Mark and I were talking about doing we had 11,000 ideas. And he's I don't know, where is he?
Well,
he's going on tour with you.
I'm going on tour with him.
Yeah, well, you guys are going on tour together.
Well, Maron is a great example of somebody that once people get it.
Yeah.
Like, I get
right.
it.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, he's working like crazy.
I know, right?
And it's like, holy shit. I mean,
it's so funny. Both of these guys who I met at the same time, Maron and Jim Gaffigan, they literally can't stop working. They're like the Parker Posies of their generation.
Yeah. And these guys are in the business for 20 years.
I know. That's what's so funny.
Maron,
aging comedians. That's our fucking high.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I can't get any kind of work because I'm 53 and I go, hey, these guys are killing. I know they've been in it for 20, 30 years.
I know.
But I'm saying, hey, the older guys, millennials aren't looking for, I want to watch some shows about our age. They want to watch some fucking shit.
I know they do. I know. I mean, we'll look at Louis' show before, obviously everything went haywire.
Rami's show, he just got he just won Rami Youssef just won an award for on Hulu for his show. And that's a show that I had him on, and before it was even out, he gave me 5 episodes. I was like, whoever fucking made this should be in charge of Hollywood.
Right.
Not because of the show's a smash, but they had vision of this is something different. Let's make this.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
Well, it's happening.
It is happening now, though. This year, all of a sudden, I'm like, look at these films I saw.
Yeah, I think it's happening. I think it's definitely happening in TV. I think the movie world's weird because of the Marvel situation. Everything is switched to television.
Yeah. But Marriage Story?
Oh, yeah.
What a fucking film, man. That wouldn't have been made 5 years ago.
No, and it might have been made, but it wouldn't get that kind of... No. Bombeck's been making movies forever, but how many of them have you seen?
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize this was his third one with Adam Driver. I was like, he made 2 other... one of them I'd heard of, the other one I'd forgotten about.
What a film, though, man.
Yeah, it's pretty great, and I thought Driver was exceptional in that.
Well, it's funny because I remember, I don't watch much TV, but when people hound me on stuff, so I go, fuck it, I'll watch this show, Girls.
Yeah.
I was starting to get fascinated with Williamsburg and New York for comedy. I want to get, I'm going to start going to New York hard. And I'm watching this, and people shit on hipsters. I never do. I love hipsters. I love everything about that because they're passionate about shit.
Yeah.
People can clown on them, but they're into, coffee, records, movies, books, clothing, whatever. It's like...
Everyone was a fucking hipster. Let's be clear about it. I mean, not everyone, but the point is I was 16 years old going to the fucking coffee. I was reading about Kerouac. Kerouac was a fucking hipster, and they were obsessed with fucking Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman was a hipster. Where are you going to stop?
I know.
It's always going to exist.
I think it's just easy to shit on something, and then, I never understood it. So I started watching Girls, and I was watching this guy, and I was like, what the fuck? I could tell right away. I go, this guy has got
Well,
chops.
I thought he was just weird good.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I thought, okay,
that's hard to pull off, though, at the time.
Well, no, yeah.
Weird.
And I thought, okay, walking-y, okay, or not that he's doing walking or anything, but just that kind of niche. So I was skeptical of Marriage Story because I was like, well, I don't know if this guy can carry a realistic drama where he's a parent. I just don't think... I went into it thinking I just don't think he can.
Right.
Not because necessarily he can't, but because I have too much baggage associated with what I've seen him do. He seems too young, just shit like that. And I was like, oh no, I'm a dad. I get, like, he's doing this, like, he's nailed this. And that emotional rawness that doesn't seem gratuitous is a hard thing to pull off.
Yeah.
He resonated on a level I was frankly pretty shocked by, to be honest. Yeah. But then he walked out on Terry Gross, so he's dead to me.
Yeah.
Did you hear that story?
Yeah, I did. I get it.
know.
Well, you know what? I don't fucking say that about him because I know what that is.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is overworked.
Yeah.
Publicist probably
Yeah.
fucking throwing him like 7,000 things. He
Yeah.
did 40 movies in the last 5
I know. Well,
years.
that's crazy.
And after a while, you just go, hey, fuck this,
Yeah.
and she got it. It would have been somebody else.
Yeah,
it would have
yeah.
been somebody else. It's the Oasis over toured.
Right.
It's the
Yeah,
Eddie
yeah.
Vedder.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
everybody. You get hot, and then the agents are just, okay, we got you this, and you're like, hey, I need a little rest.
Imagine what that guy's life.
I need
is
a
like
little
right now.
rest.
No.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
can't imagine. Yeah, no, I was, I love Terry
Yeah.
Gross. I mean, she's like, but I did hear that maybe the producers fucked with them by playing this clip
Right,
or
right,
whatever.
right.
I don't know. But that bit where he's singing, it is true. It is a fucking masterful. It was beautiful. But I was kind of surprised at like how nuts and bolts the fucking divorce shit was. I mean, I guess it's ironic that it's called a marriage story. I'm assuming that that's why it's called that,
Right.
rather than a divorce story. But I mean, it really is nuts and bolts divorce shit, which seems like a very specific milieu to me. Surprisingly resonating with people.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sort of shocked about that.
Well, divorce is such
Well, I guess it is a big
it's such a natural
It is-
thing
it is-
now.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I'm glad I never got married. All my buddies now,
Yeah.
we're in our 50s, and they're just like, dude, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it wasn't like I didn't want. There was one woman I probably would have married,
Right.
and then it didn't happen,
Right,
and
yeah.
then the bar was raised, and no one could go past it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that was my own lunacy.
Yeah,
it wasn't like
Well,
know.
do you think about it now? Do you think about where you're going to be and end up? And I mean, look, everyone else says this, like, I mean, this is a weird reason to get married, but it's a kind of practical reason. Do you want to die alone? I mean, literally, I don't mean like in some existentially grand way. I mean, be on a bed by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't mind that because I'm an only child, so that fucked me
So am I,
up.
so am
that
I.
fucked me up big time. So I don't like.
what was your childhood like?
My childhood was great as far as like I loved what I did. I did BMX was my life, and then music became
Right.
my life, and I had friends. I do have issues, I think, with people are not, like, hey man, let's do this, and then they flake. That kind of stuff.
I get very bitter about that.
I do too.
I
have
hold
some-
major grudges.
I have real tight friends, and then some new ones will come in, and then they'll fuck up. And I have this thing where I'm like, done. I don't know. It's just.
I know. I know.
And I'm also a little needy, like Marin. I'll be like, dude, we
Yeah, I
gotta
know.
hang.
I know.
But but I've learned to work.
But what was your relationship with your parents like?
Well, not much with my father. That's the thing. So
Right.
great with my mom. My
Yeah.
mom is fucking awesome.
Did they stay together or did they split?
No, divorced at like 2. So that's
Okay.
the whole thing.
Yeah, I was at 5.
But that really didn't bother me because my father's a different type of man that I would not want to be. Texas. I'm more into my mom's world of art,
That's
rock
how I
and
kinda-
roll,
yeah.
San Francisco hippie.
Yeah.
She.
Where was she from?
We were born I was born in Yosemite. We're you know what I mean? So we lived in Yosemite.
Right.
You get the idea.
Yeah.
It's just, so I was all into that. And so it's definitely molded exactly who I am. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love who I am. But as far as being married, it really takes the right person. And there's like, to me, it's a lot. It's looks that draw you in. But it's personality, man.
Of course.
And who's going to put up with me? I'm a lunatic like you. We're lunatics, dude.
I found a woman. I mean, we
Right.
could share her if you want.
What?
No, my wife is like,
But she's an artist.
Yeah, but she's a different kind of. She's not a crazy artist.
Right.
It's a different kind of artist because I have been with people who have been very similar to me, and it's been toxic as fuck.
I don't like that. Everybody tries. I do a bit about it. I go, friends always try to hook me up with their garbage can friend. You know what I mean? Because they kind of look like me. I'll show up and they're like, you got to meet Gina. And she walks in. She's all tatted up. And it's like, I don't want that.
No, Roxanne is like kind of chic, hippie. I don't know what you call what her thing, earthy. Went to Waldorf school, like can play the violin and like sing 3-part harmony. And she's a graphic designer and has a design business in Silver Lake. A good, they have a great studio and a great business and blah blah blah. And she's an illustrator and stuff like that. But she's not Georgia O'Keeffe. She's not ripping her fucking hair out. She's not Frida Kahlo. She's not That's
great.
We don't have 16 fucking chicks who are trying to sleep with both of us. Or I don't know. I'm just trying to paint some weird like Bohemian Nightmare picture. Like that world has existed, and it's like and somehow. And she said this to me early on because I said the kind of very early on I was just like, why? Why would you be with me? You're basically normal. And and she said because it's part of my personality that I lack. That I it's kind of like that missing piece thing a little bit. And I lack that kind of, stability and sort of normalcy. And that's not to say that it's so cut and dried. I mean, obviously she has her own shit. I mean, she's got really interesting, crazy childhood, which is a whole other story. But her parents were drug runners in Afghanistan.
Whoa.
And that I haven't turned this into a TV show is partly because it's so difficult to excavate all of this material, and because it's not a milieu which I feel super comfortable necessarily writing. But Jesus Christ, she's getting. I mean, she didn't know this until she was 18. I mean, it's crazy, like kind of Weeds meets Goodfellas meets fucking, I don't know, some weird Johnny Depp shit, or some Hunter Thompson shit. So anyway. But
I'm so into like nerd girls.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, yeah.
I love a nerdy girl that's quiet, but not quiet. Like don't say anything. I'm talking about like they're smart, right? Because there's more depths to me than just rock and roll. That's lunacy.
Roxanne was like hot nerd, basically.
Right. That's
she's
what
like
I like.
Really beautiful, but in a book club. And it's just like, oh no, I'm fucked. I'm like, oh, if I ask her out, and let's be clear, the way that I would ask people out, or like she had to email me some bullshit thing, and I had to be like, oh, hey, if you want to go see this Iraq War documentary on Monday, which was our first date.
Iraq War documentary?
No End in Sight, it was called. It was brutally depressing. And then we went and got drunk at...
Wait, how did you meet? At a party?
We met in my living room because my pal Greg was friends with this woman, Melissa Keller, who's like this beautiful, she was, an actress, but she was like a Sports Illustrated model, whatever. And Greg had this theory that if we went to go to this art opening, which he had been invited to by this other girl, that if we brought a really attractive girl along with us, that other girl, it would become clear to us which guy this other girl liked. I didn't know what he was up to.
Wow.
He had the whole science
that
down.
Much fucking depth into it.
So then Melissa invites her friend Melissa invites her friend Roxanne. Roxanne invites her friend Merritt. Then I have to invite my friend Julian, who is like terrified of women, paralyzed by them. I had to lie to him and just say we were going to go to an art opening. And then he shows up and there's 3 stunning, like they each come in and one's like more beautiful than the next. I'm like, what is happening here? Wow. And we just end up hanging out all night playing music. I mean, basically we conned them, but we came clean. It was all very awkward and weird, and then it was really
we conned them, but we came clean.
We did. At some point, they're like, "We're not going to this art opening, are we?" And like, because once they showed up, Greg was like, "We're not going anywhere." But we ended up playing like Truth or Dare and some like word games and playing music and all kinds of shit, and we just hung out all night and nothing happened, whatever. And then Roxanne was like, "Oh, that painting on your wall, can I get a picture of that for my?" It was some BS excuse for us to interact, that we found. And then I invited her to the Iraq War documentary. But early on, I was just like, I don't know. If I call this woman, because I had just come out of a 6 month, 6 months prior, had come out of a 5.5 year long relationship.
Wow.
I was like, I cannot do this.
Yeah.
I had just bought this house. I had been kicked out of the house that my ex-girlfriend and I lived in. I was living out of a suitcase for 6 fucking months. I finally just moved into this house. And she had just broken up with her boyfriend, who, by the way, was a stand-up. She actually knew Marin in some other life at like the fucking Cellar and all of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's a New York girl, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those
are the best.
She was David Lee Roth's landlord.
Whoa.
Crazy.
David Lee Roth's landlord. So was my buddy Dove. They were together?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
That's hilarious. Dove is a great friend of mine.
So that's why she moved here, was with him. Then they broke up, and then we got together. Wow. So, I always give her shit about dating a stand-up. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Oh,
Going on to stand-up. Oh. Like, there's something wrong with you. But then, of course, there's something wrong with her because she's with me.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with her. But anyway, but I'm like, don't call this girl because you're going to end up getting married. And you can't get married right now because you just got out of a 5.5 year long relationship.
Right.
And we were together for a long time before we finally... We didn't get married until she was 9 months pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah. But.
Let's get into some of the films you worked on. You worked with Val, and I did. I was a glorified extra on the Doors movie.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was played this, like in this band scene.
Yeah.
The scene where he takes his dick out. Yeah, it's supposed to be Florida.
Yeah.
And, I knew Val from Top Gun, and this was my first time. A buddy goes, hey, you fucking do you want to do this film thing? They need a band. And I came down to L.A. and did this thing. And I'll never forget it to this day. Oliver Stone's like, all right, he's going to come in. You got to call him Jim. Mm-hmm. He's going to come through this door. Got to call him Jim. And the whole time I'm like, what is this dumb shit?
Yeah.
And then he came in.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Right.
Fucking, we're in this fake makeshift green room. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was still to this day, right now, floored.
Yeah.
I will never forget it. And then, of course, I had always heard about method acting, and I loved Brando. Brando is a god to me, and so is James Dean. Giant is one of the greatest films.
Oh, I know, made. Right? No one talks about how that's one of the great performances. They talk about Rebel and East of Eden.
Fuck that. Giant is a masterpiece. Anyway,
I agree. Yeah.
So from then I just love Val. He made a movie a few years ago, Felon. That's just smoking. But fuck, man. So you did this.
I did 2 movies with Val. Now on Salton Sea, I wasn't that. In Salton Sea, he was still very much in that kind of like. In fact, you'd go into his trailer and the Doors were playing. So I'm not sure that he ever fully left Jim. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Jim left him or whatever was
going on. Did you hear the
on.
story how he got that?
Yeah, sleeping on Oliver's doorstep or something like that.
Well, what I heard was they had already cast the Jim, and then Val made this VHS tape of him, and then they said, hey, you got to check this out. He goes, I already got Jim. And they're like, no, you better look at this. So he watches, he goes, who the fuck is that? Yeah. And they go, that's Val Kilmer. He's like, what?
Yeah.
And then they give him the role.
Yeah. That thing, I always viewed it as more of a fucking tone poem or something. It wasn't like it was a mood. Yeah. But so he and I weren't friends per se on that. We didn't work on it that long, but then we did this movie Deja Vu, and years later now, this is more like grown-up Val. And Val's like, hey, this is the 3rd movie in a row I've been on good behavior on. So it's really funny because there was Top Dog, who was Denzel, who I'll just keep my mouth shut about, but threw a piece of fruit at my head. That's all I'll say. But Val and I were kind of like the bad kids, at least like in Denzel's mind, like we'd whisper like during the 79-minute rehearsals that it would take for us to get up and running or whatever. Yeah. And we'd get a little bored and make a joke and, excuse me, gentlemen, am I interrupting you? Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, so Val and I got really tight. And we were I love it. We'd hang out all the time, and then we were going to do a movie together. there was a writer, and this is like kind of one of those sad stories where it's like who's in the wrong, who's more bitter, who's more alpha. Like I'm not really sure, but there was a writer named Nicole Burdett. She was a playwright in New York, very talented. Ethan Hawke made, I guess it was his first movie that he directed called Chelsea Walls, and it was based on a play of Nicole's that she'd written when she was younger. And Nicole had written this play called The Great Unwashed. And it was like, real Hopper-esque 30s Americana. And so we decided to do it together. I was going to direct it. I wasn't going to be in it. Giovanni was going to be in it. Val was going to be in it. My girlfriend at the time, Christina, was going to be in it. So I was putting this together, and we just got into this weird thing. And we were shooting Deja Vu at the time, or doing reshoots for it. And Nicole came out, and we kind of did a reading of it. And then Nicole went back, and I said, I'm going to start rehearsing it because I want to kind of try and start to put this together as we're doing the financing. I want everything to. And she kind of flipped out on me because she said, This is not how it works. Because she's a playwright, and the playwright's always there. And I'm like,
of course.
I'm like, well, but I have everybody here, and you live in New York, and I want to. We ain't got no fight. I don't know why I'm getting into this. I've never told that story because, frankly, not that interesting. But the point I'm making is that we were going to do this really interesting film together, where he was going to play this real kind of interesting Western character, and there was just this period where we were just like exchanging ideas all the time, and he's super eccentric. I mean, there's no question about it.
Totally.
But he was just also, he's like a real artist, and it just was, and it was just exciting to hang out with, and his energy is just fucking fantastic. And and he's really good.
He's like a Mickey Rourke.
Well, yeah, and he's exactly. And
Mickey Rourke is like one of the greatest actors of all time.
I know. The whole Mickey Rourke thing just makes me sad, to be honest. I mean,
The Wrestler was the big comeback.
Don't get me wrong. He's fucking amazing in that. I just wish he didn't fucking destroy himself. I just wish he didn't destroy himself. This guy, had body dysmorphic disorder or something. He was, he's like to me, like the most handsome guy on the fucking planet.
Oh, my God.
The coolest guy.
Diner.
The coolest guy on the planet.
Yeah, what?
Pope of Greenwich Village.
Pope of Greenwich Village.
Fucking, like, you look at him in Rumblefish, and he's all, like, pot-marked and kind of fucked up, and Matt Dillon is beautiful or whatever, but it's, you want to be the motorcycle boy. That's the point of that movie.
Hell yeah.
Mickey Rourke was the single coolest fucking dude on the planet.
Absolutely.
But also an actor, man. Angel Heart.
Angel Heart, yeah.
You know how many times I go, I know who I am.
yeah.
Into a mirror that I've just shattered.
I'm the same way with Barfly. I'm always like, I got a job. I'm the new maitre d' at Musso and Frank's.
Wonder. All right. You represents everything that disgusts me. Unoriginal macho energy.
Yeah, man. What a guy.
Ladies, man.
And then fucking The Wrestler is just
it's
brutal.
Totally brutal.
The thing about the Salton Sea was I was in the meth world for a while. I did a lot of meth.
You did? I only did it once by accident, and I thought I had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it's been 12 hours, and there's no distinguishing heartbeat anymore. It's just one heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at what point does this necessitate going to the hospital? But
oh, man.
Anyway, go on.
But watching that film, man, it is when the spider guy. The spider guy is like
You just reminded me. I saw a screening of it when I was in some like. There was these very short periods where I was kind of interstitially. I don't know if this is the word. Single, because I'm always in these long-term. But I remember I had rekindled something with a girl I had kind of like had this tumultuous sort of affair with in the 90s, and this is now in the early 2000s, and we went to go see a screening of it. The first screening of it, I don't think it was until 2002, or 2001, and we had done, and I never did ecstasy because, frankly, it didn't work. I remember taking it once in the 90s. I was like, I fell asleep. I was like, and this guy, so it was like, this is pure, fucking liquid ecstasy,
bogus,
pure. And I was like, I fell asleep. So I was like, ecstasy, whatever. But this stuff I took, I was like, I think it kind of worked. But mainly the speediness worked. So I was all fucking tweaked out when we went to go see it. So we were both. I was sitting there, kind of like not like gnashing my gums, watching Salton Sea for the first time. So I was like, I kind of was perfect.
Yeah. But man, when I watched it, I was like, ooh, these guys are nailing it.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, I did an audition where they wanted kind of a meth head.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like the typical kind of tweaker when I would. I wasn't like, oh, here, let's open up a model and paint this guitar. Or whatever. I was just more like, let's play rock, and drink and go bowling.
Well, I know. That's when I used to do coke, which was not a lot, but a consistent brief period in the 90s where I was like, oh, this shit kind of mellows me out. Like maybe I'm like one of those guys who are supposed to be on Ritalin or something.
Absolutely.
Eventually, the coke, when I would stay up all night, and then I was looking in the mirror and anywhere I could find it and blah, 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 and I'm like, and then I remember that was it. I was like, that's the last day I'm ever doing it.
You turn into the Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was bad. But in the early days, it was Billie Holiday. It was fucking Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
It was 4-tracking music until like 5 a.m. And it was having people over and having like the world's greatest conversations or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? But I just remember being like, holy shit, I'm Lenny Bruce. I just was like, I'm the coolest fucking guy that ever lived. You know?
That's some lion powder. And these guys are great friends.
And then years later, there was this apartment I had in Rossmore for 3 years, and people would tell me, not like tons, because this wasn't a huge period, but like, I hung out at your apartment. I was like, I have no idea who you are.
And then also you're like, hey, there's some shit missing. You know what's funny is I wanted to ask you about working on Friends.
Okay.
Because
Did I finish my kombucha?
There it is. Oh, you're done with it. That was an error.
You're a Perrier man.
Yeah, you want one?
I need it.
I'll get it. Hold on.
That's my whole thing.
I love it.
Think about.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Friends. The reason I asked you about Friends is just because that was a time where I was way, way, way deep into music. Zero TV, but Friends was this absolute humongous thing. Humongous thing.
It was huge. I hated that show.
Right. So, but my point is...
I mean, I can't say I hated it. To say I hated it would be to imply that I watched
I never seen an episode ever.
So I watched the pilot of Friends. Pilot. It was the first episode, but as an actor, you think of everything as a pilot. And my ex-girlfriend, who I was still like tortured, in love with, was a guest star on the pilot. So I already was biased because I wanted her to fail, and I wanted her to be miserable. So the last thing I wanted to do was turn on the television and see her.
Right.
So she's in there somewhere. But I also remember saying, like, what the... Because I had heard about you hear about everything that was being cast at the time. So I was like, what the fuck is this? Is this supposed to be funny? Is it a soap opera?
Yeah.
I think it ended with Jennifer Aniston, like, in a window with it raining and she's crying or something. Like, what the fuck is this hybrid, like, trite crap?
Yeah.
Cut to a year later, second season, I get a call. I remember the phone call. I remember I still have the little telephone tray that the phone was on. It's just like, I'm just visualizing. Pick it up, rotary phone probably. And my agent says, okay, you got this 3-episode arc on Friends. I said, nope. And this is in this weird, I mean, this has been my career. I'll get offered shit, but I don't get shit I audition for. That's not to say that I get offered shit all the time. I don't. But the shit you've seen me in, I get offered. And the shit you don't see me in, I've auditioned for.
Right.
So anyway, even back then, I mean, there wasn't much to look at. I think Dazed had been out. I don't know what else. I had auditioned for NYPD Blue. I had auditioned for ER, and I got in those parts. But Friends, for whatever reason, was an offer. So 3-episode arc. I said, no, I can't do it. And I think we got off the phone. And then I think he called back. He goes, no, you have to do this. You have to do this because it's like the biggest show on TV. I'm like, oh, dude. I mean,
and that's at a time where TV, like if you did it, you'd be like, oh, you're not an actor.
Oh, well, there was a lot of that. I mean, I remember
that was going on
for a decade. Every time I did a TV series at the press junket, they go, so why are you doing TV? You're a movie actor. And I'd go, actually, I've done more TV than movies. Maybe you haven't seen it, but that's how I make a living. I don't make a living doing movies.
Yeah.
So anyway, so there was that, and it's a sitcom and whatever. But, and it was also weird because it wasn't really described to me. It was like a roommate, blah, blah, blah. And you got to start tomorrow. So you got to go tomorrow in the middle of the episode. So, work weeks are basically Monday through Friday, typically. And
why did you have to do it? The agent it was a favor?
It was like it was just like a non-starter.
Right.
Like, you're not going to make a dumb decision.
Right. Okay.
And let's be clear. In my life as an actor, I haven't turned down anything that ever had any consequence to it.
Yeah.
That there has been things that I was I had been offered, I couldn't do. I mean, the example I always give is The Panic Room. It's the most heartbreaking story, not because I think The Panic Room was a great movie, but it was David Fincher, and he did straight up offer me the movie, and I couldn't do it because I was on a TV series that got canceled after fucking 9 episodes, like every motherfucking TV series I've ever been on. I mean, I've been on like probably 10 of them. And but there's not a lot of examples of me being like, fuck no. Yeah. I had friends like that, and they fucked themselves. Me, pretty much anything that would come along. So it was probably me just being like a dick to my agent. Was I really going to be that much of a dick to my career? No. So I go in on Wednesday, and it's in the middle of the episode, in the middle of their success. And again, there was nothing in that first episode. It was just, hi, how are you? And he leaves. But I guess they must have told me that he's going to be some kind of weirdo character and blah, blah, blah. And as the days went on and progressed or whatever, it was fun. It was like, first of all, the Matts were fun. I would later end up becoming pretty good pals with LeBlanc, Matt Perry, and I think worked well together, but we weren't pals. Although the three of us all went out drinking after we would shoot, which was funny. And it was crazy because we'd go to my bar, the Three of Clubs, where my pals were.
Oh, Three of Clubs, great. Right?
But the place was, they were so famous,
dude.
It was like hanging out with Paul and fucking Ringo.
It's crazy. I was at the Viper, hanging at the Viper Room at the time, and they would hang there.
Right.
And Adam Duritz is like dating one of them, and he's bartending, and they come in, and it's like, whoa,
I know,
the friends are here. It's crazy. Even to this day, the paparazzi every week they're on the cover of the magazines. Who's Jennifer dating? Is it Brad Pitt again?
I know.
And this is fucking 25 years later.
It's really crazy. Because they had become such a part of people's consciousness, whatever, that whole thing about it being in your living room and all that shit, that was a big deal. Also, you have to consider that there weren't a million shows. I think it'd be very, very difficult for someone on a show, I don't care how big it is, or how lauded critically it is, and how many Emmys you got. If you're on, fucking Hulu or Netflix or FX or whatever, you're not going to walk, it'll be like, I'm impressed, that's really cool, I love your show, but it's not going to be like, oh my God, there were 4 stations back then, dude.
Yeah. You got to look at HBO. Seinfeld and Friends are, and The Simpsons are like 3 of the giantest TV shows of all time.
And so it will never be like that again. No. Those days are over. So that was huge, right? Anyway, so it was tons of fun, and I actually really enjoyed it. And
who were you, the boyfriend of one of them?
No, I played the roommate. I played Chandler and Joey break up or whatever. Chandler moves out and I move in, and I become, I'm fucking crazy.
Right.
You don't know it at first, but I'm increasingly. Oh, wait a minute. I think I just got it backwards. This is how well I know my...
Yeah.
Joey moves out. I move in with Chandler. I'm Chandler's roommate. I've made this mistake before. And I'm just weird stalkery guy or whatever. And I remember, like, the writers even saying to me, like, this is really fun because it's like, you're sort of fucking like taking Matt to, like, you're really like, you're up in the game. Like, because I guess Matt was a real comedy nerd, a timing nerd and all that kind of shit. And I was like holding my own, like, so it was kind of, there was something vaguely competitive about it, which fed into my whole shtick, which was fun. It was cool. But it was weird because they were like, you'll see something weird's going to happen when they air. And it's true. It's like 35 million people seeing you is just a different experience than... Yeah,
like more than some of the movies you did.
Well, no, at that point, there was no comparison.
Absolutely. What'd you bring, a camera?
Yeah, I always have a camera, but figured I'd take a picture. This is a old... Rolleiflex SL66. It's not the Rolleiflex that people know, the twin lens reflex. It's one that's more like a Hasselblad, but single lens reflex, medium format camera with some old, well, not that old, but Fuji Polaroid film in it.
Yeah. Wow. You got to see this thing. It looks like an old movie camera.
Yeah, because also this.
Is it Polaroid?
Yeah, the Polaroid whoa! But it's most Polaroid backs on medium format cameras. Most Polaroid backs in medium format cameras are load horizontally. And this is vertical, and it gives it a.
And they still sell the film for that, huh?
Well, let's be clear. Yes and no. The Fuji shit just stopped being manufactured. So
right.
I have old Polaroid film like up the yin yang in my wine freezer or whatever, wine fridge.
Really?
But the Fuji kept manufacturing stuff for quite a few years later but they discontinued it. So now this is hard to come by. Now there's a guy who, Polaroid got rebooted by this thing called the Impossible Project, and I had a pretty close relationship with them. I was one of the people that, tested their film a lot, and I did some exhibitions with them and stuff like that. Anyway, the guy, once Polaroid bought them and whatever, or however the hell that merger took place, this guy Doc Kaplan went off and he started his own a smaller company, and he's trying to make peel apart film again for these cameras, but it's going to be crazily niche. Wow. The Polaroid thing took off because everyone's got the one-step camera or whatever, but this is a whole other situation. Let's see what we should.
I love the old Polaroid. I had the accordion looking one.
Yeah, those are the land cameras. Same deal.
From the late 60s.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Well, this is wild. It's taking a picture right now with this thing. I got to get a picture of
your camera.
Of the camera. Yeah.
So this thing will get really close. So I'll do 2 exposures.
Wow.
And we'll try it. We'll do this at 1/8 of a second.
That's nuts.
I'll do one of your.
Wow.
I'll do one back here.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah. So that's that's a fucking rabbit hole.
Cameras. Totally.
I have a whole room that's just cameras. The whole room.
Really?
The whole room is cameras.
Wow.
The whole wall is. I had something built for just the cameras and all the camera components, because when you start dealing with medium and large format cameras, not 35 millimeters, nothing. I mean, you have a body, and you can get a fucking lens system, and that's space consuming. But once you start dealing with this shit, you're dealing with the fucking camera backs, and you're dealing with all these different. These all swap out the prisms, the viewfinders, and
shit's rad.
It's just a fucking and there's so much redundancy. It's ridiculous. I mean, do I need all of that? No, but I have found that you get, it's a guitar. It's the same exact thing. You get inspired by a different,
absolutely.
That's all it is.
Do you? Let me ask you this before you get out of here. Yeah. What? How did you get into clothing? You and I are obsessed with clothing. Yeah. Was it certain people, like, of course, James Dean, Marlon Brando, then Fonzie, and all the way out?
It's funny that you said
Spicoli.
See, I was never like a bands guy or whatever. I mean, I was, but I was never. In high school, everybody was into Spicoli, and I wasn't. I was a mod guy. I was into. I brought the Madness record. Yeah. One of the Madness records to Supercuts. Yeah. And it's funny because I actually have this
Supercuts.
And I was like, give me that haircut. I want that flat top. Of course, I never understood that once I got the haircut that I was trying to get, that I didn't look like the guy. I went in the 80s during the Olympics. I was like, make me look like Carl Lewis. Yeah. Carl Lewis was like this, incredible black runner, Yeah. Well, how the fuck was he's going to make me look like Carl fucking Lewis? But I was like, I want the fucking haircut. Yeah. So I would say, no, but James Dean's a good call. So I, for years, would wear the fucking boots. I would wear the slacks, because really, he didn't wear a lot of jeans. Like, that's just the movie version of him, right? The fucking peacoats, all that shit. Yeah. I tried to get his boots made several times. Since the 90s, since the very early 90s, I would shop vintage clothes stores, and I would look for now, when I say the boots, there's a pair of these, and no one can figure out what they are. But there's some kind of, they have a toe cap. They're some kind of Western Roper style boot, but they really, the shaft accordion's like this.
Oh yeah, sagged.
Yeah, and no one could really figure. Now there was a boot that was made where it very intentionally, like,
sagged.
You couldn't.
I've seen those. Yeah. Those
so I was like, was it that? Was it just that they were cheap? Then I had heard that there was a guy on Sunset Boulevard that made James Dean's boots. So I went there. They're still there, but I don't know that he made those, and it's not like the last is still there.
Was it the guy next to the griddle?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he just moved.
Right. So that guy I had made me boots, but they didn't fit. Anyway, basically I'd gone to Willie's, Raoul at Willie's, to make me boots. So the short answer to your question is that boots in many ways were kind of a gateway. I was always into the 50s. In fact, I got a leather jacket because of the Fonz. Yeah. Literally.
Same here.
When I was 10 years old.
Yeah. And then the wild one.
So I guess it was the 50s. Yeah. I guess the shortest answer is the 50s. And then beat guys, khakis and fucking, whatever. But no, I mean, I remember seeing an ad for Jack Purcell's when I was in high school. Oh. It was James Dean wearing a sweater, some slacks, and Jack Purcell sneakers.
Yeah.
As far as all this heritage shit and like just the insane amount of money that's being blown, that's a very recent thing. Because what I didn't get was, what I used to do was shop at vintage clothes stores and the California Surplus Mart.
Yeah, and then you'd have to have them modified because there's all fucking boxy.
Right. So I'd take all the Dickies and I'd have them all tailored. So that was basic. In Dazed and Confused, I'm wearing my own tailored Dickies in that. And that was like my luck, And then, and maybe I get a pair of, Levi's and I get some engineer boots, but, cheap engineer boots or whatever.
Yeah, I always wore the Chippewa.
Exactly.
So I'd get Chippewa
or
engineer
boots,
Fry.
whatever. Right.
And
so like that.
I'd get a shot jacket, leather jacket.
Right.
And that was my outfit.
I had a 40s motorcycle jacket I wore for a good part of the 90s. It was just falling to fucking pieces. And it was just unbelievable. So, but I didn't know that there were guys that were making this shit. So I heard that Japan made jeans. I was like, what is that? My mom got me some weird ass shit for Christmas one year. I'm like, these are horrible. And they were like horrible, like bell bottom. But I was ordering shit from Shepler's, which is a Western clothing store in Oklahoma. Yeah. 517s for $30. Since 1999, I'd been wearing the same.
517 was great.
That's all I was wearing my boots and wearing my fucking 50s Type 3, trucker jacket or something. So I didn't get that there were these guys that were reproducing all this shit until 5 years ago when I was gatewayed through some engineer boot search that took me from Brian from Roll Club through Instagram, and then through his Instagram, then that was it. Yeah. And the rest is fucking history. And once I learned there was a self-edge, it was all downhill. Yeah, and then and I remember talking to Marin, and I didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about because I said, I was in New York when I was like really starting to get heavy into this shit. I was like, do you want to go to this place? Because they had a real McCoy's shop.
On Green.
Exactly.
Remember that?
Yes. So I go, do you want to go to real McCoy's? Because like Japanese guys know how to make better American clothes than Americans do. And I said something, and then, he tweeted something about, me and selvedge jeans or whatever. And I'm like, what? Selvedge what? Yeah. And like, so, and I'm like, and I go to real McCoy's and they're talking to me about raw jeans. But the funny part is, I always been wearing raw jeans. I just been wearing shitty non-selvage fucking 517s. Right. But I never was like, I wasn't getting like a fucking acid wash jean. No, but I did. But it
was like made in Yugoslavia or Mexico.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And they just fall apart super quick.
Yeah, but I'd buy 4 or 5 pairs of them. And, that'd be that. Yeah. But now I'm just fucked beyond repair. Yeah.
But it's a good addiction.
It is, but dude, you come over one day.
Yeah.
The amount of those loop-wheeled sweatshirts I fucking have. Yeah. How often do I wear just a sweat? You know what I wear a lot are the hoodies. Yeah. Because the hoodies are you're going on a flight, you put a hoodie on, you put it, right, I sleep in hoodies. The hoodies I don't care about having multiples of. Yeah. But the fucking loop-wheel crew neck sweatshirt, do I need more than one?
Yeah, well, I think you need 4. You got to have an oatmeal one, a black, a gray,
and a blue.
Yeah. You gotta,
and that's what I have. And then I have like the flathead iteration, and the McCoy iteration.
I know.
And come on.
Okay, so you took this picture of me, and it's
pretty good. I could do better exposure on your glasses.
Old school Polaroid. Wow. So it's 2 pictures on the one Polaroid.
That's a double.
Wow, that's crazy. I'll take a picture of this and post it when I put the episode up.
I'll scan it to you so you don't have to.
Oh, okay,
I'll scan it for you, and then I'll get you like a real.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, dude, thanks for doing the podcast.
It's such a pleasure, man.
And
easy peasy. Did we make it clear that we met at? I feel like we
met on Craigslist.
Let's just back. I think we need to back up just quickly because. Yeah. So what happened was I was looking for the Morans.
Right.
I was looking on eBay. I was going through my friend Oscar at Rewind Audio, which, by the way, if you're in LA, go to Oscar. He's got the greatest audio equipment. But he didn't have a 2275 at the time. Right. Funny thing is, right afterwards, he got the 2270, and I was like, oh, bro, I'm so sorry. Anyway, so I start interacting, and it's those weird Craigslist interactions. Yeah. So it's like, I guess he's nice. I'm not really. And then I kind of got a little pissy with you because you had neck surgery.
Yeah.
And I didn't get back. I was like, sorry, if I don't hear from you, I got to look elsewhere. And you were like, sorry, man, I just got neck surgery. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was like being that impatient, you dick.
Yeah.
And then I show up and I'm like, huh. And I'm like, okay. Oh, and then you go, good art, because I'm wearing a good art hat.
Yeah,
Josh is my friend. I'm like, okay, so I know everything's cool. I go, Josh is my friend.
Nice
too.
good art hat.
Yeah.
Josh is a good friend of mine.
Josh is a good friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. So then, you mentioned Marin and the receiver. I go, wait, what's your name? Are you Dean Del Rey? I was like, yeah, I know you, man.
Yeah.
And it's just funny that we never met in some other, like, it's what's coincidental is that we hadn't already met. What would have been funny is that we did know each other, but we were anonymously going through Craigslist.
That would have been crazy, right?
It's like,
what also I was thinking was, if I was just a normal person, I'd be like, hey, that Adam Goldberg just came by and bought a fucking, you're on TV and movies. I mean,
No, there's a guy on Instagram who DMs me once in a while that goes, your mother-in-law bought a camera for you from me. Because the truth of it is, I was in New York, but they live in Rockland County, and I was like, oh, there's this amazing camera up in Rockland County. Would you mind picking it up for me?
Yeah.
And I'll send you the money and blah, 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 blah. Weird loop or whatever. But no, in this case, it's just like this weird thing where I had the Del Razor fucking...
Yeah, you had my jacket.
Which I sold because... Don't tell Kia, but... It was too small, man.
Yeah.
They're always too small, the flatheads.
People were hitting me too, going like, "Oh, you and Adam Goldberg are going to be best friends."
Yeah. No, I know. Mark's texted me. He was like, "You guys share some of the same." The way he said it was so formal. Some of the same. You have same aesthetic appreciation for. I was like, "Yeah."
Anyway. All I kept saying was like, "No, man, he's married, so I'm not going to see him ever again."
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, but it's true. Unless you want to come, you can have a play date with us. It might be creepy.
Oh,
you could come to the fucking playground.
I'm all good, but come see some.
I will.
Come see some comedy.
I would love to
get a night out.
I would love to.
It'd be great.
I've been saying that to Mark for I've never seen Mark.
Oh, what the fuck?
Well, but I've said it to him. I go, why don't you tell a friend that you're performing? Why do I have to see it on Twitter? And finally, I got because I'm like needy, I guess, like you or whatever. And he's the same way, I guess. But I'm sort of like, why do I have to fucking, like, I've invited him to shit and he's shown up. You've got to invite me. I'm not going to buy tickets.
I'm going to hit you up next time Mark and I are together at the store and just come down.
I'm not even 100% sure I've ever even been there.
Oh, well, you have to fucking go.
I grew up here, but I used to go to improv or whatever.
This is a night out for you. Yeah. Come down, Mark and I. We're at the store a lot, and everybody else that's...
and the truth of it is, I got to get into stand-up comedy because apparently that's the only way I'll fucking get hired in my 50s.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to become some fucking hot shit.
You played a comic in a movie or a TV with Jim Gaffigan.
No, that was what was fun. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
So quickly. So yeah, people were like, "Is he a comic?" Because people who didn't know who I was were like, who is that asshole? Blah.
Yeah,
it's a fucking character, but okay. Anyway, so there's finally a scene like at the end of the series or whatever where I do this big stand-up thing, and it was fun and crazy and challenging because it was a lot to learn, but there was a lot of improvisation, and I was like, fuck, I don't know. There's no way for me to practice it. We'll just have to see what happens.
Right.
And something kicked in because, of course, I've done plays and I've played music. And, of course, I've done a certain amount of stand-up riffing and improvising or whatever. But just standing at a microphone. Now, of course, I get my ego totally boosted by the fact that everyone was into it, like the crew, but the fake audience is laughing because they're told to laugh.
Yeah.
So in my mind, this is really happening.
Yeah, I'm killing.
So I leave and I go back home and I go, honey, I think I'm good at this. And she's like, it's not a real audience. And I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean, because the jokes are supposed to be kind of bad. But the thing is that I'm coming up with shit on the spot where I'm nailing Jim.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the line was very gray where I'm like, but I did come up with funny shit, or is it TV funny? In other words, funny for that audience. Like I was watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel with Roseanne the other night. I'm like, I don't get it. Is she supposed to be funny to us or just to them? Because it's like, you know what I mean? Like when you portray a comedian, it's a different...
Right. Oh, yeah. Totally, dude.
But I was so loose and in my element because... But what was liberating was I was supposed to be such an asshole that I got to leave anything remotely friendly at the door. And obviously I don't think I'd feel comfortable really doing that. I'd probably be more the neurotic or whatever. But this guy was just supposed to be a fucking dick.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun.
Wow.
And I was like, fuck. I'm too late for me. I thought about it, by the way, when I was 19.
I started at 44, dude.
What am I going to do? Hey, you may or may not recognize me from, I don't know, man. Listen, I did it when I was 19.
Yeah.
3 times at coffee houses. And because it was right in that period where it's like you're going to decide what you want to do. Now, it wasn't that I was going to be a stand-up, but I was obsessed with Lenny Bruce and Richard Pryor, and I was like, I want to try and write in that milieu or whatever. So I tried, and I sucked. I mean, I was doing an impression of Lenny Bruce for one thing, and then, it was blatant. And another thing was, I didn't have anything to say. Well, first of all, I was 19, but I mean, I was talking about jerking off. I was talking about my IBS. I didn't have much else.
Yeah.
And there was nothing. It was so disingenuous. It was like a performance. It was like a imitation of a stand-up comic.
Yeah. You're almost like doing an actor doing a comic.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
So I was like, the world doesn't need that. Like, in other words, if I have something to offer and I finally have something to say, and what kind of sucks is now I do, because I've lived a life.
Yeah.
I have a family. I have a lot to say that I don't necessarily want to write into a TV show. I have a lot to say that I'd rather just say.
You could do a one-man show.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a lot of work.
Too much work. My ego. I'm sure everybody, but the divide between my narcissism and my insecurity is so vast.
Yeah.
That the insecurity would fucking just beat the living shit out of the narcissism, and I don't think I'd make it out on stage, pal. I just don't think it would happen, and that's why I cannot believe that people do it.
Oh, it's insane.
I cannot believe it.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's just too much, too little net and too much fucking flying. I just can't do it. I can't even do a play anymore, dude. The last time I was in a play was a 2-person play, and I was in my 20s. I just can't be on stage. It's too terrifying.
Well, it's not a natural thing. That's why most people don't do it.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, thanks for doing the show, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll see you either at the Comedy Store or at a play date.
Yeah, absolutely. You will. All right. Give me your Instagram, because it's a great one.
The Adam Goldberg.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you working on anything? You just did a film,
I just did a film with Russell Crowe, who's an old pal. See, that's an example of how I get work. He just DM'd me on Twitter and said, do you want to... You know what I mean?
Oh, my God.
And it was the week I fired my agents. I don't have agents anymore.
Oh, that's fucking great.
And I was like...
all the way back from A Beautiful Mind, and then he fucking DMs you want to do this movie.
He's like, I think you'd be great at this thing. He goes, and it's not like you're playing the fifth mathematician on the left. That's how he pitched it.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a, so I play like a director of a horror movie remake of The Exorcist, which is may or may not be driving Russell's character, who Russell's playing a movie star basically, who's got a lot of problems, and it's all very meta. One of the 2 guys who wrote it, his dad, apparently there's not a lot of information about it, but you could just Google it. I don't know what I'm supposed to say or not, but anyway, it's anyone can Google this. Joshua Miller, who's the co-writer and co-director, his father was Jason Miller, who was the playwright cast in The Exorcist.
Oh, wow.
So remember that Brando-y guy in The Exorcist?
Yeah, one of the greatest films ever made.
Right. So this is about a guy acting in a remake of The Exorcist, and how it brings up all this shit between him and his daughter and blah, blah, blah. And I play this fucking horrible, asshole, abusive director, which was like a cakewalk. So people were like, why is he so good at this? I'm like people on the set were like, Jesus, that hits close to home. I'm like, I've been there, buddy. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. So we'll see what happens with that.
Thank you for doing the show.
All right, brother, man.
All right, guys, there you go. Another episode of Let There Be Talk. Fantastic episode. Everybody, thanks for tuning in, and keep the candles lit. Don't forget about the Patreon channel, patreon.com/Dean Del Rey, for all the bonus episodes. See you.